Hello, welcome to Darasa Online. My name is Mr. Kileo Davidson Abubakar. I am a geography teacher. Today we are going to make a Form 4 Geography revision. And I said we are going to make a revision because the topics that we are going to see or to learn today, it is a Form 3, it's the Form 3 class topic. Are we together? Geography topic. So it is a Form 3 geography topic. So we are going to see the forces that affect the Earth, and they will stick or will focus much on each subtopic of erosion and deposition by running water. Are you with me? So this is our topic today, this one. Our topic, it means forces that affect the Earth. See? And we will focus much on each subtopic of erosion and deposition by running water. So running water, it means we are going to see what are the river and the river system. Are you with me? It means we are going to see what is a river, different concept in a river, as well as the process, as well as you will see the features operating or occur as a result of the surface runoff. Are we together? So the point is we are going to see or to focus much on river and the river system. Remember, we will use the model question as our guiding question in our instruction today from the start to the end of the lesson. So you are most welcome. So let's see what is a river. River refer to the mass of water which flow from the source to the mouth in a specific direction or in a specific channel. This is what we call a river. So a river will refer to the large volume of water. Mass of water means large volume of water which move from the source to the mouth. It means it move, it flow. Water flow from where the river starts, this one, from the source, to the mouth, where the river pour its water and the material it carry. Are we together? It means right now we are talking about the three main or very important concepts. We are talking about the river flow, source, as well as the river mouth. So what are these? See? What are these? So listen to me very carefully. It means we have the river flow. We have the river source, as well as we have the river mouth. You see? So these are the very important concept relating to river. See, so what is a river source? Let us start with this one. The river source refers to the point or a place where the river starts. A point or a place where the river starts, or we say originated. Example, at the rainfall. See, ice melt, where there is ice melt. See, we have what we call at the river. Remember, some rivers may be the source of other rivers. See, we have lakes. Lakes can be the source of the river. For instance, we said Lake Victoria is a Nile perch. It means Lake Victoria is one among the source of the river Nile. Are we together? So from there, this is what we call the river source. Then we have what we call a river mouth. A river mouth is a point or a place, see, where the river pour its water and release the material it carry. It means a point or a place where the river pour its water and release it release the loads. It carries. Are you with me? It means loads will refer to the different material carried by the river. So a point or a place where the river poured its water and the material it was transported, that point is what we call a river mouth. And most of the river mouths are found nearby the sea or ocean. Why? Because most of the rivers, they are taking their water into the sea or ocean. Are we together? That's river source. That is what we call a river mouth. So these are the very important terminology that you should know them. Are we together? Then we have a river flow. What is a river flow? See, what is a river flow? So let's see what's a river flow. It means we have river flow. It means a river flow refers to the process or situation whereby water is flowing within the river valley from the source to the mouth. It means right now refers to the situation whereby water flows, or we say move, within the river valley from one point to another. Are you with me, class? It means right now we said river flow refers to the situation whereby water flows or move within the river valley. So we have another terminology right here. We have the river valley. Water flows through the river valley, within the river valley, from one point, which is normally the source, to the other point, which is normally the mouth. So the situation or the process whereby water is now flowing within the river valley from one point to another point, we call it the river flow. Are you with me? So we have the terminology right here, the river valley. What is a river valley? It means a river valley right now we refer to the empty space through water pass or flow on it or inside it. Are you with me? It means the river valley, it is an empty space. See? Or you can say it's a valley. It's a valley where water flows on it or in it. Are you with me? It means the point where the river water flows on it is what you call the river valley. Are you with me? So parts of the river valley. Parts of the river valley. We have two parts of the river valley. We have the river beds as well as the river bank. This one, the river bank. The river bed refers to the flow. The flow of the river valley is what we refer as what? Referred as river bed. Why is the river bank referred to the edge? The edges, this one, edges, all the sides of the river valley. The sides of the river valley is what we call the river banks. Are you with me? So from there, let me draw so that you can be able to understand them. See? This one is an example of the diagram or illustration to explain what is a river valley. What is a river flow? Are you with me? Listen to me very carefully. We have an empty space, this one, from which water flows on it or flows in it. Are you together? This is what's called a river valley. It has this one, the river bed, this one. This is a bed of the river. It means the river bed. And then we have the river banks. This one has the banks of the river banks. See? We have the river banks as well as the river beds. These are the sides of the river banks as well as the river beds. Are you with me, class? So the point is, a point or an empty space where water flows on it, we call it a river valley. Are you with me? And what is a river flow? It means a river flow refers to the situation or a process whereby water is now flowing in or on a river valley. Are you with me? So we have what we call we have types of river. And before going to the type of river, let me explain type of river flow. Types of river flow. See, we have the main type. We have the turbulent flow, as well as the laminar flow. Laminar flow. So what are these? See, so turbulent flow we refer to the type of river flow which occurred when water in a river valley is now flowing on the rough riverbed. It normally makes loud and flowing in a chaotic way. Are you with me? It means laminar flow right now we are talking about the flowing of the river in a smooth surface. The surface with no eddies. It means the riverbed has no eddies or barriers, no big stones. So the river normally flow in a silent way and parallel. These are the main type of river flow. We have the minor type of river flow. We have what you call the spiral or loop flow, as well as the plunge flow. See? The plunge flow. So what are these? The spiral flow, it means we are talking about the flowing of the river following the meandering. See, it means, let's say, for instance, this is a meandering. So if the water inside the river valley or the water in a river valley will flow following the bends, the meandering of the river valley, that type of river flow we call it the spiral or the loop flow. Are you with me? Then we have the plunge flow. It means right now the river is flowing on a sharp point of the steep slope. On a sharp point of the steep slope. The river is now flowing on a sharp point of the steep slope. For instance, at the neck point. See, let's say this point right here. See, it means this is a river flow. It means it flow on a sharp point. This point right here. Flowing down a steep. So we have the steep slope, this one. It means this point right here, this is a steep slope. See? So if this is a steep slope, so what I'm talking about is when water will flow to this point right here, the sharp point of this steep slope, it will automatically flowing in a falling movement. It will form what we call a plunge pool right here. A plunge pool. See? The plunge pool, this one. There will be a circular depression on the foot or at the foot of the steep slopes occurred as a result of the vertical erosion at this point. Then this point right here, a circular depression filled with water is what we call a plunge pool. But I'm talking about the flowing of water on a sharp point or at the sharp point of the steep slope. This is what we call the plunge flow. Are you together? So from now, let's see types of river. We have different types of river, and we have categorized them into the main three types. Are you with me? So we have types of river. Types of river. Types of rivers. See? We have the perennial river. Perennial river. Perennial rivers. We have the intermittent river. Intermittent rivers. As well as the ephemeral rivers. Listen to me very carefully. We have categorized rivers into this type right here, ephemeral rivers. So what are these? See? When I say the perennial river, we refer to the type of rivers which flow throughout the year. It contains high water volume in all periods of the year. For instance, Nile, Niger, Volta, Congo. All of these are the perennial river. Why? Because they contain high water volume in all periods of the year. We have the intermittent rivers. Intermittent rivers, these are the rivers which contain high water during the wet season, during the rain season. And they become with little or no water during the dry season. Are you with me? We call them the intermittent rivers. Example of intermittent river as a river found in tropics area. For instance, most of the river found in Tanzania, most of them we can put them in this category right here, in intermittent river. Why? Because they contain high water volume during the rain, during the wet season, and become with little or no water during the dry season. Are you with me? Then we have the ephemeral rivers. Ephemeral rivers, these are the rivers which contain high water and flow during rainfall. Listen to me very carefully. When there is a rainfall, for the time being, it means there will be the flowing of water within the river valley. The river valley will contain water during rainfall. And when the rainfall will stop, and the water in a river valley will stop flowing, will disappear. And those kind of rivers, we call them the ephemeral river. For instance, the river which are found in the sand desert. You may find during the rainfall, there will be the flowing of water. Then after the rainfall stop, then the river or the water will disappear into the ground. Are you with me? And we call them the ephemeral river. So let's see the function of the river. Function of the river. Functions of the river. So we have the main three functions of the river. We have the river erosion. We have the river transport, as well as the river deposition, See? These are the main three functions played by the river as it flows from one point to another, normally from the source to the mouth. So I'm going to explain these three processes or function played by the river using what we call the long profile of the river valley development. Are you with me? It means the long profile with refer to the stretch or the distance from the mouth to the source of the river. The stretch from the upper to the lower point of the river valley development. That is what we call the long profile of the river. So remember, we have the main three stages right here. We have the upper stage. This is a long profile of the river development. It means we have the upper stage, we have the middle stage. Listen to me very carefully. And then we have the lower stage. Are you with me? So the point is, at the upper stage, it is where erosion is dominant. Are you with me? At the middle stage right here, it's where transport is dominant. And at the lower stage, it's where the deposition is dominant. Why? Because all of the materials carried by water, by the river, from the upper and the middle, they are left deposited at the lower stage of the river development. Are you with me? So we have the main three stages of the river profile development. And right now, we are talking about the upper, middle, and the lower stage. So what are the characteristics of the upper, middle, and the lower stage? Let's see the characteristics of each stages. See? So I'm going to mention them. It means at the upper stage, for instance. At the upper stage. Let me write it down here. So we have the upper stage. The upper stage, let's see the characteristic of the upper stage. See? So upper stage, it is, most of the time, it is a river source. See? It's where you can get the springs, ice melt, rainfall. See? It is a river source. Then we say erosion is dominant. Erosion is dominant. You see? Then we say there is vertical erosion. Erosion is dominant, but there is a vertical erosion. Then we say there is high speed of water down a slope. Down a slope. High speed of water down a slope. Because why? Because there is a steep slope. there is a steep slope. See? Because there is high speed of water down a slope due to the presence of the steep slopes, then there is a very low, water volume. It means the volume of the water is low. See? Then we say there is a formation of waterfall in rapids and waterfall. See, these are the main characteristics of the upper stage. See, we have the V-shaped features. V-shaped features. Why? It means right now the valley have undergone what we call the vertical erosion and turned into a V-shaped valley. Then these are the characteristics of the upper stage. The characteristic of the middle stage. It means at the middle stage, it means at this point right here, it means the slope start to change from the steep to gentle. See, slope start to change from steep to gentle. Are you with me? Then we said speed of water start to decrease. Why? Because there is a decrease in slope from steep to gentle. Then we said the volume of water start to increase. Why? Because right now water, they are flowing. I mean, they are starting to decrease their speed. It means they will start accumulating. At what? At the middle stage right here. Then the transport is dominant. Remember, at the upper stage, erosion is dominant. Right here, the transport is dominant. Are you with me? Right here, the transport is dominant. Then you say there is lateral erosion. Remember, at the upper stage, there is a vertical erosion. Right here, there is a lateral erosion. See? Therefore, because at the upper stage there is a vertical erosion, which resulted to the V shape. Right here we have the lateral erosion, which resulted to the U shape. So we say there is a U-shaped valley. Are you with me? Then we say there is a slightly bends of the river valley. Slightly bends of the river valley. See? Formation of bluffs. The steep sides of the river valley. These are characteristics of the middle stage. Then let's see the characteristics of the lower stage. The characteristics of the lower stage. What are the characteristics of the lower stage? It means the characteristics of the lower stage are the opposites of the characteristic or features of the upper stage. So lower stage features or characteristic is opposite of this one. Are you with me? Is the lower stage. Lower stage characteristic. Remember, at the upper there is, we say erosion is dominant. Right here, deposition is dominant. Say deposition is dominant. See? Why? Because the land right now is a gentle sloping area. Then we said most of the time at the upper stage, it's where we found the river source, while most of the lower stage are the river mouth. It is a river mouth. See? Then the deposition is dominant. Then there is high water volume. High water volume. Speed of water is very low. See? Why very low? Because there is gentle slope. There is a gentle slope. See? there is accumulation of different material to form what we call oxbow valley as well as the delta. It means formation of oxbow valley or the oxbow lakes and delta. See, we have the meandering of the river valley. The meandering of the river valley. So from right here, class, I'm sure you have understood from the beginning up to this point. So let's see what are the river action. The river action. The river action will refer to the processes or the functions the river played as it flows from one point to another. So the first action, it means we have what we call the river erosion. See, the river erosion refers to the process whereby parts of the river valley or loose sides or weathered loads in a river valley are carried away to somewhere else. Somewhere else by the river. Are you with me? It means the process whereby either part of the river is carried away, or the loose side of the river is carried away, or the weathered loads. The materials that are within the river that have undergone the disintegration, the weathering, those are the loose material. They may be shifted, carried away to somewhere else by the water within the river valley, and we call the river erosion. So we have what we call the processes of river erosion. Processes of river erosion. Listen to me very carefully right here. It means we are talking about different mechanisms the river played as it flows from one point to another. So how do the river erodes? It what we call the process of river erosion or the mechanism. See, sometimes we refer them as what? As mechanism. So at this point, we have the first mechanism we call the abrasion. See, the second one, the attrition. See, then we have the hydraulic action. And the last one is solution. So how do the river erode? See, it means through abrasion. What is abrasion? Abrasion refers to the process or the situation whereby the transported load, the transported material by the river is now used as the eroding tool when grain or hit the river sides. So it means at this point the material carried by the river, we call them loads, are the one which used as eroding tool. See? So right here it means materials or loads used as the eroding tool. Are you with me? Then we have attrition. Attrition, we said, refer to the wear and tear suffered by the transported material as they flow from one point to another point of the river valley. Are you with me? It means the material transported by the river, they may collide with each other or against the river sides and split into pieces. And we call it the attrition. That's why we say, refer to the wear and tear suffered by the transported material, transported loads, as they collide with each other or against the river sides. Are you with me? Once the material transported by the river collide with each other or against the river side and split into fine, remember that is what called erosion, and the mechanism is what called the attrition. Hydraulic action, it means the hydraulic action right now, this one, we are talking about the remove of the loose side of the river valley by the force of the moving water. It means right now the water have much pressure. So once bounce on the river sides and found that the river side is weak, it's where the weak side of the river valley will be carried away by the force of the moving water, and what we will call, and we will call it the hydraulic action. This one, loose side. Loose sides are removed by the force of the moving water. Are you with me? And we call it the hydraulic action. Then you come to solution. It means right now we are talking the part of the river valley made up of soft rock. For instance, the chalk rock. Remember, the chalk rock is a soluble rock that can be easily removed in a solution form once dissolved in a water. Are you with me? So that process or mechanism we call it the solution. Remove of loads or sides of the river in a solution form. Solution form, when dissolves in it. So from right here, let's see the type of river erosion. We have the type of river erosion. What happened after all these processes or mechanisms we have operated on the river valley? It means we have types of river erosion. Type of river erosion. See? We have the lateral erosion. Lateral erosion. We have the vertical erosion. Listen to me very carefully. Vertical erosion. Vertical erosion, as well as the headward erosion. So lateral erosion refers to the erosion which play on the sides of the river valley. It erodes the river banks. So resulted to the widening up of the river valley. This one. The widening up of the river valley. See? We call it the lateral erosion. The vertical erosion refers to the vertical undercutting of the riverbed. The vertical erosion of the riverbed. It means it may result into the deepening of the river valley. It means it results into deepening of the river valley. River valley. In other way, we say the river valley is now undergo the increase in its depth. Then we have the headward erosion, the last one. The headward erosion refers to the cutting back of the river channel from the mouth to the source, which resulted into the increase in river length. And we call it the headward erosion. It results into the shifting of the river source. And later on, it may result to the formation or to the increase in what we call the river length. This one, cutting back of the river channel from the source, from the mouth backward to the source. Cause the increase in river length. This is what called the headward erosion. Are you with me? So from there, let's see river transport. The river transport. The river transport, we refer to the process whereby the river transport or carry different loads from one point to somewhere else, and we call it the river transport. The difference between the river erosion and the river transport is the transportation of material can be left anywhere within the river valley. While the river erosion, it normally carries the material from one point of the river valley development to other point, normally from the source to the mouth. See, so river erosion, river transport, the process where different materials, they are carried from one point to another is what we call the river transport. And most of the time, these are either the loose material or the weathered material. See? Then from there, we have types of river transport. See? We have the traction. Listen to me very carefully. We have the saltation. We have the suspension, as well as the solution. See? So traction refers to the process whereby the river transports the load while dragging or rolling on the riverbed. It means the materials, they are dragging or rolling on the riverbed. Are you with me? It means this is a riverbed. You may find the materials they are transporting while rolling within the riverbed. See? They are rolling. Saltation, it means we refer to the process of the river transport, whereby the materials they are transported while bounds. They are bounds on the riversides, either at the river banks or the river beds. We call it the saltation. They are bounds. Then the suspension, it means we refer to the process whereby the transported material, they are fine material, carried by river from one point to another. It means fine loads are transported, very fine loads, fine sandy, see, transported from one point to another, depending on the volume of water in a river valley. So sometimes even pebbles can be fine, depending on the volume of water within the river valley. Are you with me? Then we have the solution. You find the soluble material. The soluble materials, they may be transported from one point of the river valley to another, and we call it the solution. They normally dissolved in it. Example, chalk, ashes, dusty, etc. Then, this is river transport. The river deposition refers to the situation whereby the river now release the material it transport. So the process whereby different materials are accumulated by the river, they are left by the river somewhere else. Normally at the river, at the old stage of the river valley development is what we call the river deposition. So the reason for the river deposition, either there is increase in load, in the amount of loads. See? Or the gentleness area. It means its slope is nearly flatland area. Or presence of meander. See, bending of the river valley. Or the speed of water is very low. So when the speed of water is very low, automatically it may be easier for the transported material to be released. See? Or it means presence of vegetation, for instance. The vegetation across the river valley, So the presence of vegetation across the river valley may act as barrier, see, and hence may influence or they may aid the accumulation of material somewhere on the river valley. Are you with me? So these are the points for the river deposition. The last one is the decrease in river energy. River energy, we refer to the ability of the river to transport and erode. See? So when the ability of the river to transport and erode the material, will fall, will decline. Automatically the river will not be able to carry the material. Then it will deposit the material somewhere at the river valley. Then from right here, as I've said earlier, we are going to see different model questions, and we run through them to the end of the lesson. Are you with me? So let's see the model question. So the river valley, the refugee river valley is always young. Then describe the given statement using 5 evidences. See, the question needs us to explain what we call the river rejuvenation. Remember, we have seen the process or the function played by the river. We have the river erosion, river transport, as well as the river deposition. So the question right now, the refugee river valley is always young. As you can remember, what is a river rejuvenation? River rejuvenation refers to the situation or the process whereby the river becomes young again after the renewal, erosive activity of the river valley. See, that's why you say river rejuvenation refers to what? Refers to the erosive activity power of the river valley, normally after the increase in river volume, the sea level change or the land level change. So it will need us to explain 5 evidence. It means the question needs us to explain what? Different landforms that are as a result of what? Of the river rejuvenation. So we are going directly. What is a river rejuvenation? River rejuvenation. River rejuvenation, it means refer to the erosive activity power of the river valley. So the erosive activity power of the river valley is what called the river rejuvenation. So in a simple way, you can say refer to the process whereby the river becomes young again after the increase in river volume, normally. That's the river rejuvenation. So we have the causes. Causes of river rejuvenation. See, the first causes is increase in river volume. Increase in river volume. Either from rain, ice melt, spring, etc. Then we have the sea level change. See? The change in sea level, for instance, either the rise or the fall in sea level may result to the increase, the occurrence of the erosion of the river valley again. For instance, when there is increase in in the sea level, it means there will be the shifting of water from the sea into the river valley. So automatically cause the flowing of water from the river into the sea to decrease. That speed will decrease. The deposition of material will not taken far away from the river mouth. Will normally taken or will be deposited at the river mouth. But the fall in sea level will allow the fast flowing of water toward or entering the sea. Automatically there will be the erosion at the river mouth there, because there was the deposition of material, but right now there is a falling in sea level. So we automatically allow different material to be carried far away from the river mouth, and we call it the river erosion. What kind of erosion? We call it the river rejuvenation. Are you with me? So the land level change right here. The land level change. This is simple. It means the change in land normally from the gentle to steep will allow water to flow by a fast speed. See, so if water will flow in a fast speed, automatically will allow high rate of erosion, resulted to what we call the river rejuvenation. Are you with me? Then from there, we have the types of the river rejuvenation. Types of river rejuvenation. So the types of the river rejuvenation are the result of the causes above, as I've explained. So we have the static rejuvenation, as well as the dynamic rejuvenation. The static rejuvenation refers to the type of river rejuvenation which occurred as a result of the increase in river volume, either from the ice melt, spring, rainfall, etc. Dynamic rejuvenation, it is a result of the either sea level change or the land level change. So in that case, we have two types of dynamic rejuvenation. We have the eustatic rejuvenation, this one, and the diastrophic rejuvenation. What happened? It means in eustatic rejuvenation, as I said, dynamic rejuvenation refers to the type of river rejuvenation occurs as a result of either the sea level change or the land level change. So the eustatic rejuvenation, it means it occurs as a result of the what? The sea level change. But the diastrophic rejuvenation, it occurs as a result of what? The land level change. So from there, let's see the landform produced by the river rejuvenation. So we have what you call a neck point. Neck point refers to the sharp point of the steep slope formed due to the vertical erosion of the riverbed. This point right here. See? This point is what we call a neck point. So a neck point refers to the sharp point of the steep slope. Remember, this is a steep slope. This point. It means the steep slope. The sharp point of the steep slope. The sharp point of the steep slope formed by the vertical undercutting of the river valley. This is what we call a neck point as the first landform. Then we have the second landform. We have what we call the paired terraces. We say this as a step-like benches at both sides of the river valley development. Step-like benches. It means, see, this is a river valley. So you may find there is a step-like benches, this one. This one is what called the paired terraces, this one. Step-like benches, paired terraces. Paired terraces, this one. Step-like benches at both sides of the river valley, formed due to the removal of this point of the land right here. The remaining one, this one. Step-like benches is what we call the paired terraces. Then from there, we have the incised meander. Incised meander. What are these? The incised meanders, these are the curved bends of the river valley with steep slopes, formed as a result of the renewal erosive activity of the river valley. It means we are talking about the bends of the river valley. These are the bends, but the bend with the steep side. But the steep sides, you may find them, they have the curved bend like this one. Are you with me? These are the steep sides of the river valley, as you can see, but this is a river valley. Right here, you may find them, they look curved. Why? Because the movement of water at this point right here have eroded this point. Then when they come to this point, you may find they will erode this point right here and leave the steep sides of the river valley curved. We call them the incised meander. We have the two type of incised. We have the ingrown and the entrenched meander. Then from there, we have the last features of the formed due to the river rejuvenation. We call the valley within the valley. The valley within the what? The valley. Listen to me very careful. The valley within the valley, it means we are talking about the small valley formed inside the large valley. See? Let's take this one as an example of the river valley, as you can see. So we have the large valley, this one. Then what happened, you may find the small valley, this one, formed inside the former valley. This is valley within the valley. Let me rewinding the session by explaining the importance of the river, because we have talked much about river erosion, river deposition, river transport, different characteristics at the upper, middle, as well as the lower stage. So let me explain importance of the river. Rivers, see? River as a source of water for different purposes. For instance, for the domestic, industrial, agriculture, etc., etc. Then we say river act as a political boundary for some countries. Political boundaries. Boundaries for some countries. For some countries. We said it used for navigation. It means the transport through water. Transport through water. And most of the time when there is a smooth river valley, rivers as a determinant of economic activity. Determinant of economic activity, example, fishing. See? Agriculture. Trade and commerce, the growth of town, etc., etc. So we have so many importances of rivers in our life. See? As I've explained right here, this is the first point. So you can explain deep in industry how, in agriculture how. Are you with me? Then from there, I can say thank you very much from the start to this point for being there, for watching the Darasa online. Today we have seen what is river, different concept of river. We have seen what is river erosion, river transport, river deposition. We have seen the upper stage and its characteristics, the middle stage, as well as the lower stage and their features. We have seen some of the features found at the upper stage, for instance, the rapid and waterfall. At the middle stage, we have seen the bluffs and the U-shaped valley. At the old stage, I have mentioned the oxbow, delta, etc. So, till the next time, you are most welcome to Darasa Online. Thank you very much.